Hi, everyone. Welcome back from lunch. This is our second breakout session. We are here to hear Abby Schumann, and she's a librarian at the Talking Books and Braille Library that is located in the Indiana State Library in Indianapolis. Abby has been working at the Indiana State Library for nearly 4 years, and today she'll be sharing with us what the Talking Books and Braille Library and program can do for your library and your patrons with disabilities. So without further ado, Abby Schumann.
I don't know where to stand. Am I still in frame? I'm over here.
You can actually see a very top one
Okay.
over there. I know
Yeah.
it's a little small from here. You
Yep.
can see it on the back
Hi.
too.
Oh, back there. Cool. Okay. Hi. I've never done the Zoom and the in-person, so this will be really fun. If I'm blocking something, just tell me to move. I'm Abby. I'm the Talking Book Librarian at the Indiana State Library, like Leanne told you. I've been there for a little while, so I kind of know what I'm talking about, but not always. I will pass out these. I have a couple of little handouts that have like information about what we do. So if everybody wants to take one of each, then I will collect the extras. We will go over here and we'll hit the next. This is my contact info if anybody is interested in that. I also have my cards here as well. But I'm just here to basically kind of talk at you for a little bit and let you know what we do and how we can help your patrons if they need us. Is everybody here from a public library? Are we doing academic? Public academic. Okay, cool. Right. It's just kind of a little agenda. I like to go over kind of what we are, a little bit of our history, because we have been around a long time. And then, of course, different programs we offer, different services, different account types, because there are two, which is why you have two different brochures in front of you. And then, of course, like things that you can do to help people apply, stuff like that. So the first thing is, what are we? So we are a department within the state library. We send out books. We have large print, Braille, and audio books that we send out to the entire state of Indiana. Anybody that qualifies that has a visual disability, a reading disability, or a physical disability that prevents them from holding a hardback book, from turning pages. I've even heard the story that there was a lady that was allergic to book ink and needed to use talking books because she couldn't touch physical books because they made her rashy. So I thought that was interesting. So it can be any sort of physical disability. And then, of course, like I said, we have large print, we have Braille, and we have books on tape. And we can provide these free of charge because we are connected to NLS, which is the National Library Service in DC. And a little bit of the history. The idea was in 1897 was the first idea kind of came about of, oh, we need to like provide Braille, or what the equivalent of talking books was way back in that time. And the Librarian of Congress at that time created a little reading room with like 500 items that people could come and check out. In 1905, the state library began mailing embossed books, which is like the precursor to Braille, to our state constituents that would need it. And we had about 300 volumes at that time, which was kind of cool. This is just a picture of like, this is what the state library looks like, but this is the original construction in 1931. If you ever have a chance to come up and look at it, you should. It's very pretty. This is the inside. This is the interior of the old original, like 1931 section. Very Art Deco, very cool. And a little bit more of the history. In 31, Herbert Hoover signed an act called the Pratt-Smoot Act, which is a funny name. But it established the library program for blind adults administered by the Library of Congress. So NLS became like an official person to push out those books. And in 34, we joined the National Library Service because we already had a reading room with embossed books or Braille volumes. So they're like, hey, you want to be a part of this? And we said, sure. So let's do that. We expanded in 1952 to children. 1966 to people that had physical disabilities. We went from records, which we sent out the record players to our people and the records. We went to cassettes in 1968. We have digital books, which started in 2009. And then we started doing downloads in 2013 because we also have an app, which I will talk about here in a second. All right, so services we offer, anybody that signs up with our service and is a patron, they can get Braille books, they can get those digital audio books, those talking books is what we call, large print books, we have audio magazines, and of course we send them the playback equipment to be able to play those audio books as well. And that is mailed to the patrons' homes at no cost to them through the United States Postal Service. We have an agreement with them. We also have Braille and audiobooks. They are also available to download from Bard, which is our online app, and also a website as well. This is just a little picture I took a long time ago when I was at like my old desk. That this is the wonderful little playback equipment that we send people out that plays the cartridge. This is what the cartridge looks like. It's just a USB encased in plastic so people don't lose them. And that plugs into the machine, and that they hit the they hit the green button and it starts playing to them. There can be up to 10 books at a time on one cartridge. So if a patron had out 4 of these cartridges, they could have out like 40 books at a time, potentially. And then we have something new, which is very exciting. We have a Braille e-reader. I like to call this the Kindle, but for the Braille version. So this is portable. You can take it with you. You can use Bluetooth or Wi-Fi to download books, Braille books, to this display. And these are dots. These are all the Braille dots. Whoop. Cool. And you run your finger along them. When you get to the end, it will switch back over to the next line of the sentence. Very cool. I have one personally that like we were supposed to practice with. I don't know how to read Braille, so it's not really helpful, but they're very cool. All right, so these numbers are a little out of date, but we probably definitely have at this point have over like 180,000 talking books. Those are kind of like how I consider stored on the cloud somewhere, and we can download them onto those cartridges. The nice thing about that is there is no wait. So if 15 people want Nicholas Sparks' new book, 15 people can get Nicholas Sparks' new book. And there's no like holds or waiting time there. We have a lot of Braille titles. We're getting new Braille titles in every single day. NLS does send those to us. We have a bunch on Bard that they can download and use that e-reader for if they wanted to. And we also have probably close to now 20,000 large print titles. And here's a picture. We do get new large print. I know a lot of people will say, oh, do you just have that old stuff? We do still have all that old stuff, but I do order new large print every 3 months. And then that's just a picture of what the shelves look like. Just imagine rows and rows and rows of large print. And this is our Braille room. It's a little creepy because it's in the basement, but it covers about like half of the basement in the state library. We have tons of titles, and we get some use. We don't have as many Braille readers as we used to, because I don't think, you know, if you're not born blind or visually impaired, it's harder to learn as you get older. So if an older person loses some sight, I would think that learning Braille would be hard. But a lot of our patrons definitely use talking books more. One of the really awesome services we offer is Reader's Advisory. So we have 2 really great Reader's Advisors that work upstairs with me, and they can do everything from address changes to changing what books you want to stopping or starting like receiving materials. They can do all of it. So if you just call, usually it's one of them that the patrons will talk to, and they get the books that they want because they know what they're doing.
Question.
Yes.
From online, can they download to their own computer or their own devices?
Yeah, I will get into that here in a bit. I have a picture of like what the Bard app really means and what the Bard website looks like. And that's actually what we're talking about, Bard. It stands for the Braille and Audio Reading Download Service. That's a mouthful, so we just call it Bard, which is kind of cool because it reminds you like a little bit of Shakespeare. which we do have Shakespeare on Bard. So if you want to download to your phone, you can. So as a talking book patron, or as if a library would like to sign up as an institution, which I will get into, we can also set you up with a Bard account. All you would need for that is to have internet connection, a valid email that you know you can get into, and do all that, and then the ability to set a passphrase for yourself or a passcode. It is online, and we do also have it on the app. Online is a little more difficult because you have to learn how to unzip files and put them on a USB so you can play them in your cartridge. I think that the app is easier because once you search, you just download. But here's a picture. This is what the Bard main page online looks like. Very, like, bare bones. It's not fancy. But anybody can search the collection online if they want to, and then they could download that onto a flash drive if they want to. There might also, I don't know how well it works, but they did start to do where you could listen on the computer. You have to download, I think it's called like Bard Express, but if anybody's interested in that, we can get into the nitty gritty. But this is just what the app looks like. Very simple, not fancy. It's much more basic than like Libby or Overdrive or the Hoopla. But all you have to do is if you hit the Get Books, you can go to your wish list of books you've already said, hey, I'm interested in this kind of book. You can go search for books that you would like and then download them. And once they're downloaded, they're going to be located on your bookshelf, which you just go to the bookshelf little tab and hit play, and it will start playing for you on your phone. We also do magazines. So you can subscribe to several magazines that we have. We have like People, we have some popular ones, stuff like that. And we send those out Tuesdays and Thursdays from in-house. So that way people can stay up on their magazines. This is what it looks like. We call this little guy a toaster because if you flip it upside down, it looks like toast coming out. But this is what the USBs go in. That's how we download the books to the cartridges. And then of course, this is a picture of our outgoing mail. Usually we just send out one of these a day. Sometimes we get back one, sometimes we get back 3. It just depends on what the mail is like that day, but we send out 1 a day. And then other services we offer, we of course have youth services. I do a summer reading program. If a kid is part of our service, whether they are visually impaired, physically disabled, or have a reading disability, they can sign up. I also open that up to all ages. So we are now going through adult for summer reading, which is fun. We have a newsletter that comes out 3 or 4 times a year, depends. We have Indiana Voices, which is really cool. It's a program. We have a local recording studio within the state library that volunteers come in and read books that are by Indiana authors or have Indiana interest, like it's set in Indiana. And then we upload those onto the NLS service, so that way anybody across the states can get them. I do bi-monthly book talks. In lieu of doing an actual in-person book discussion, because all our patrons aren't quite up with Zoom yet, maybe. I just do kind of like analog ones on YouTube. So I say, hey, this time we're going to read this book. You can read this anytime you want. And then I follow that up with some discussion questions. So if they want to meet in a book club setting for themselves, they can use my video as like a way to go with questions. I also do winter reading for adults. And this last week we did a community read. So if you are familiar with Indian Humanities, they always put out a book for like one state, one story. And we did that this year too. This was summer reading. This was last year, or this year, but it's over. But we did adventure. We do the CSLP theme. And these are some of the prizes. They do get prizes at the end. I check their accounts, make sure that they check something out. Usually I make them send something back to me, like a bingo card or something fun. And then I send them prizes. And we send them out in boxes. I got fancy boxes this year that are smaller and white, so they're not so huge, but these are actually like reused Braille boxes that Braille comes in. This is a picture of our recording studio. We have 2 booths. One is only operational currently, but we do have volunteers come in every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and they are all reading their own like separate books. They read all of the Outdoor Indiana magazines we get, as well as our newsletters for us. These are no longer upcoming. These are done book talks. But we do popular ones. I do Sankofa. I've done like Wish You Were Here by Jodi Picoult. Magnolia Place is actually one I just did back in September. And like I said, I just go on there. It's just me talking about a book and providing discussion questions in case anybody wants to follow up with that. We do outreach. So as I'm here talking at you right now, we do that. I'll do that anywhere. I do that across the state. We do serve the whole state. So if you as a library know like, hey, we have a group of libraries that would like me to come and like show you the equipment, talk you through how to apply, I can do that. So the fun part, the types of accounts. So we have 2. So you have a gray piece of paper in front of you and a white brochure in front of you. The gray one is about the individual. So an individual can sign up with us and we can send things directly to their house. That's all done through us and then them. The other way we can do it is on that white one is an institutional account. So as a public library, as we work with senior centers, we work with anything that is an institution that is interested in these services. If you know you have people that are homebound that might need large print, might want the player or Braille or literally any of our stuff. Or if you, as a public library or an active library, whatever you would like, or whatever library you're part of, if you want a large print deposit collection, we can do that as well. And so how that works is that every 3 months, we send you a large print selection of books that you want. You circulate them through your patrons, and then you send them back and we send you more. Does that make sense? Kind of. Cool. All right, so how we can serve you is if, as an institution, if you would like to be a part of our service, we can absolutely do that. Even if you just want to have an example of like what the Braille e-reader looks like or what talking book player looks like, we can send those to you as well. We would just need you to sign up with us so have you in our system. So you can do that, or you can encourage your patrons to sign up if like, hey, we don't have a lot of large print, but I know somebody that does have a lot of large print. If you want to sign up with them, we can supplement that a little bit that way. Or if you know anybody that might need the service at all, just encourage them to apply. These are what the applications look like. This is just a screenshot of what it looks like online. We do have them online. I do also have them in-house today if anybody's interested in taking some. So that one's just an individual one. It's a fillable PDF. The service for institution is the same way. You would just write on there like, here's how many readers I think I might need. Here's how many Braille people I might have. Or if you want to, you can always just write in, I want large print. For some reason, we don't have a large print box. I don't know. So to get those, like I said, I have them here. We are online, sort of. So if you just Google like Talking Book and Braille Library, Indiana State Library, we're on that state library page. We have our own little page. And under Getting Started is where the applications are. So if ever you would need more, or if you need to look them up, we're there. We also have other resources. Down under the resources and services, we have like more, and we have really interesting and good, like if somebody wants something made into Braille. We don't do a lot of Braille printing ourselves, but we do have a couple of sources that do print things in Braille for like normal, just everyday people. So that's always a good like a little resource to use just in case. So what you can do, I have a couple of options. You can do all of them. You don't have to do any of them. But option one, you can always sign up for an institutional account. We can get you literally any of the things you want, whether it be large print, Braille, or talking books. I do have a couple of libraries that do deposit collections of Braille. We have what's called Twin Vision. I should have brought one with me, but I didn't. But it's like a picture book that has the actual pictures and text in it that has an overlay of Braille. So whether the adult might be blind or the child might be blind, people can still read together, which I think is really nice. So that's what they do. Then kids get a little bit of exposure to the Braille. And then of course, option 2 is encourage any patrons you might know to sign up with us and use the account as they see fit. They can sign up for everything. They don't have to do anything they want to. You just send them like one book at a time. You just gonna let it write out that way. The nice thing about this, on our second page of our application is a certifying authority. It makes it sound fancy, but that's basically what you guys can do. You can sign that. You're librarians. So it can be a doctor, a nurse, a librarian, anybody that works at a school. Pretty much as long as you're not a family member, you can sign for them. We don't really question it. But you can sign that to say, hey, they need the service. Please give it to them. And when you send the application back in, that way we can mark and keep track of everything. I kind of went through this as fast as I could to leave some time for questions. But we do have a couple of phone numbers. We have a toll-free number and we also have like a local number. Both ring to the same exact place. This is our shared inbox email, which is tbbl@library.in.gov. And then if there's any questions, if you're confused about anything, if I went too fast and you want some more clarification, mine is right down here. I also have my card as well, but it's just A. Schumann, my last name, @library.in.gov. And I think, yeah, that covers all of it. Does anybody have any questions? Did any of this make sense? In the chat.
Nothing new in the chat.
Okay.
But the simple interface of the Bard app,
Mhm.
is that to make it easier for screen readers to read it?
That's a good question. I would hope so. I hope that people can use their screen readers on that. I think they can. I've heard it on the phone when I talk to people and walk them through bar and hear something talking to them.
Okay.
So the screen readers and also on your phone, I think, iPhone has like a, not predictive text, they do that too, but they do read out, they will dictate everything that you're clicking on.
Okay.
So I think that works as well. Okay, yeah.
Do you have any signage or a graphic I can print and set out?
But I'm not quite sure 100% what
Like,
that means.
I think signage, maybe advertising, Bard or the Talking Library,
Maybe.
Talking Book Library.
I'll have to look. I know I have things in-house that I could send you if I get your information or her information, whoever's. We might have stuff online that you can like look at, but I don't think I have anything specific online, unfortunately. But I can work on that. I can get something attached up there.
And your email is up on the screen
Yes,
right now.
yes.
So anyone can email
And
you.
email me and then I can forward you whatever you would like. And like we have 30,000 of these individual, I don't know if anybody can see, of these individual and then the institutional brochures. So if you want some of those to have in-house, I can mail them to you. Yeah, and I have some here today, so if anybody wants some extra ones in-house, I can give them to you. Oh, did you want individual?
Yes, definitely. I think I would like to promote that more in our
Yeah,
community.
absolutely. Yeah, it's always nice to have. You can take as many as you want. If you want all of them, it's fine too.
Okay.
I brought extra just in case. So yeah, anytime if you have any stuff that you want as like promotion, like signage or these brochures, we're always available to send them to you guys. Because we want to get our name out there. So a lot of times I go to outreach stuff and I say, hey, have you heard of us before? And I get no. A lot of times, like probably 8 times out of 10, which is fine. But also, we've been around since 1934. So, and we're getting with the times, They're working on a new talking book player that's going to have Bluetooth and like have Wi-Fi capability. That should be coming in February. I don't know. They said that the Braille e-readers were going to be out like 2 years ago. We just got them in November of 2023. So we take that with a grain of salt, but they are slowly getting a little bit more up with time.
We would like to have some of the individual applications and then maybe one for our library where maybe we could have some samples of the equipment like we were talking about.
Yeah, that would be great.
Nice to.
I know a lot of libraries get a lot of like helpful use out of that. Like if you have a bookmobile, I know that some people will like have one on the bookmobile to like show and say, hey, there's this if you want to do it. I know a lot of people like outreach people keep it in-house just in case, or homebound. Get a lot of use out of it.
Amanda online says she'll email you. And also, this is a really great feature. Our son used it when he was younger.
Oh, that's great. I love to hear it when like we have patrons that have used it in the past. That's always really nice.
So the talking book, the people who record the talking books and the little.
Yeah, our studio.
How is that different from commercially made audiobooks? Is it just that they're recording things that aren't in audiobook form?
Yes, actually, that's a really good question. So NLS gets a lot of stuff commercially made. They do also do their own recording when they see a book and they see a need and they need to have it recorded. We do a lot, of audiobooks. Like James Patterson is almost always commercially available. So we have an agreement with those publishers to get it for the NLS and circulate that. But a lot of the self-published authors, the smaller authors from Indiana, or even one that might be set in Indiana, maybe isn't like super popular enough for them to grab and do themselves or from the commercial. That's why we record those. It's because we see that need and we're like, people might be interested in racing in Indianapolis, but NLS isn't going to record that because they're like, we have a very small amount of people that would be interested, but we know our people are. Because it's racing. So we've done a racing book. We've done a Lori Raider Day book. She's at Thorntown, local. So that's kind of why we do that, just to round out like our collection. Also give it to the rest of the United States, which is always really cool. But also kind of maybe boost up those authors. So if you have any authors in mind,
that was going to be my next question. Because people like request things.
Yes, yeah, we take requests all the time. I think we have a list. NLS also takes requests too. So we'll get somebody call in and say, hey, do you have this book? We'll say no. And they'll say, can you request that? So we can actually ask NLS, hey, will you record this? If it's not, Indiana specific, can you record this? And they'll look at it and say yes or no. And then we can look at this big spreadsheet of all of the books that have been requested, which is a lot. And they'll say yes or no, and we can go back and see whether or not they're going to record it, which is nice.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, really?
Yes, two older ladies from our church.
One receives a list of like the books. She's the one that my mom works with, and my mom will just write down any book that is Amish or something.
Right, yeah, I know.
The other lady, she doesn't get that. And so she's receiving stuff that she doesn't really want or enjoy as much. We were wondering.
Yeah. When you say you get a list, does she get the cartridge?
I think she gets like a paper list.
We don't have a paper one anymore. So we used to. So I guess.
Yeah.
I think it was 2 years ago. It became like they were spending millions of dollars, like every 2 months, apparently. So apparently that became a little cost prohibitive. So we do have an audio catalog that we can sign anybody up for, especially if we have different ways. It's kind of confusing. We have different ways that we can set up individual accounts. So there is what's called auto select. So the computer will just generate a list off of things that they're interested from. So they could say, I want Amish, I want Christian fiction, and I want Nicholas Sparks' book. And then we would put all those kind of in a list. And then there's also what's called nightly list, which is like, don't auto select for me. I want to pick my own books, which is what the catalog is really useful for. So then somebody can like check off, because when they get sent the catalog, In audio, they also get a piece of paper that they can check off the numbers that they want.
Yeah, I think
Mm-hmm.
she got that and
Yeah,
my mom
so-
just.
Yeah, yeah, so absolutely, so if, the other lady that you're talking about,
Mhm.
we can get her set up with a catalog if she wants. And we can all always tweak her preferences. If she's like, I don't want mysteries anymore, we can take those off, and nothing is set in stone ever.
Right, okay, I'll let her know.
Yeah, we'd love to set her up with a catalog. We have any other questions?
Nothing in the chat right now.
All right, so I ended a little early, but like I said, up here I have a bunch of extra stuff, so if anybody wants to come by and grab some. I have the institutional as well as the individual applications, as well as all the really fun brochures that I made a couple years ago. So, and like I said, if ever you run out, if you need more, email me, call me, I'll send you one. Thanks, guys. All right.
I'm gonna let it run for just a minute longer in case somebody
Yeah,
online has a question.
you never know. You guys always ask for a good question. Like that one about signage stumped me a little. Like, oh, do we have signage? And also, I will just say that I am part of the CSLP Inclusion Committee. I am the chair of that. If anybody is interested ever about summer reading or doing any of that sort of stuff, we are always looking for volunteers for many, many different like committees. So if ever you are interested in that, you can either help like make programs for any from child to adult. You can join a manual committee. Yeah, that's what they're called. So they make like programs. I do the inclusion, so we check the entire manual for inclusiveness and how to make things a little bit better. We have like vendors, they pick the stuff that they sell, which is fun. And they're doing call outs for that right now. So if anybody is interested, look up CSLP, the Collaborative Summer Library Program. And they're pretty cool. They're always fun to get involved with. I think that's it.
Alright, cool. Thank you for coming to talk to us.
Yeah, sorry I ended a little early. Sometimes I don't know how to fast I talk. Which is very easy, but
And online says thank you.
yeah, I'm glad that you guys had the online and the in-person. That's really cool.
Yeah,
I'm glad that it seems to be going pretty well.
this is our first year for it, and I think it's mostly, we had some, a rocky start, but
As
I think
always,
it's smoothed out as the day goes on.
which is good. That's what you want. I know every time I go up to do the book talks, I have a PowerPoint that I always share. And I have to share my screen, and there's 2 screens, and I never know which one I'm supposed to like share and not share. So this sounds a lot more complicated, so good on you guys for doing it and being able to, but that's rough.
If we think we're done, I'll go ahead and stop the share and stop the recording.